And boy, I was wrong about everything, and Will's great, and here's all the money to Will. All right, it made me think.
Oh, yes, I'm so sorry.
So I think we may find out that Will, the way Will ended up with getting cash and staying on the lam, was he booped the rich guy who screwed him over and took all his cash. Hey, Internet. It's Paul, it's Matt, the Dork Lords. We're here talking about Watchmen, Season 1, Episode 6, This Extraordinary Being. That line comes from Hollis Mason's description of Hooded Justice, which is appropriate for this episode since it basically deals almost exclusively with Hooded Justice. We begin where we left off with last week. Angela takes all the nostalgia pills that are Will's pills.
Yes.
You're not supposed to do that.
Nope.
You take other person's. It was originally like a dementia medication.
Yes.
It got taken off the market because it caused all kinds of addiction problems and psychosis issues. Much less if you take someone else's memories.
Yes.
And Angela does so. I am now Will.
Yes.
And so she fades out.
It occurs to me, though, that, we'll get to it, but that they're very selected, of course. I mean, it's like selective memory. It's not just like anything that ever happened to you.
Right. You do get to pick the memory, so it's like some kind of there's a chip or something. They do something with your brain. You go into the True Foundation. They go, boop, 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 boop. And you say, if you're Will Reeves, for instance, I'd like to remember the time I was almost hanged. And you're like, all right, perfect. Got it. And then you relive that. So, yes, we can assume that Will had intended for Angela to take these, maybe not all at the same time, but she does. So, while she suffers, we go into the past and we see the origin of Hooded Justice.
Well, before we go to the memories, though, what's her name is there?
Laurie Blake's like, sign this so we can help you.
Right, exactly.
Which I'm like, if someone is off in a coma, you could probably be like, all right,
that's
let's pump the stomach.
One of those things you see, often, or at least recently, I feel like I've seen is, like a doctor in a situation like that with somebody else, and it's like, okay, well, we could try to contact the family, but you know them, right? And you are really close to them, aren't you? So, she could have talked to Looking Glass and be like, oh, you're a member of the family practically, aren't you? Or call him on the phone and be like, it's okay if we do this, right? Because, they got Cal to come.
They did get Cal to show up. It also seems to me that once she's in a coma, it's a patient, it's a prisoner. She's a prisoner in jail who collapses.
Yeah, right.
You do what you can to keep the patient alive. I would think stomach pump would probably be your first.
Right.
Anyway.
But, potentially, though, I guess it might be like, oh, look what they did to me when I was out cold.
I got you. Or it's too late. I'm already, I don't know. But for whatever reason, reasons, this whole thing is a conceit to see this memory, right?
Yes.
Memory pills, that way they don't have to do exposition. I'm good with it. I appreciate that they didn't just say, and here's what happened next. So I like the in we get into seeing the past, but it is just an in to the past.
Sure.
Basically. Take a pill, now we see what Will did without going and we see Will in actuality. Plus we get that cool duality of it's her, and then it's Will, and it's her, and she's... So...
Yeah, actually, because it was established in the original work, right, in the comics. It was a perfume and not pills.
Right. Now in the Peteypedia from last week, I think they've got the medication description,
right? Yeah,
and so it goes through all the side effects and blah 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 blah. They had to use the word phantasmagorical, so I was like, oh, all right, that sounds no thanks.
Right. Yeah, but the importance, I think, of this particular product is, maybe Will only did that but he was taking it himself.
He was taking it to remember.
Right, so
he's got
the
dementia.
theory that he's it could be him. I guess 100 with dementia. That could be. That's true. I was thinking though, because for some reason then he's walking around.
Oh right. The walking around part, so you could explain it as Lady True has some other wonder drug to make people walk around, or
The whole clone thing, which is
the
what I was
clone
talking
thing.
about.
Yeah, that he's taking the memories so that he is a
His
clone
body.
who actually remembers Will. Yes, I agree that could easily be a thing too. But that is not addressed in this episode.
Oh, and I think that also too, Lady True talked to her daughter, like, "Have you been taking your medicine or something?"
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, definitely. I think it's almost certain, especially with some of the Peteypedia stuff we got this week. There's a big interview with Lady True, and one of the things we know is her mom's name was Bion, which is the name of this daughter who has memories of being in Vietnam while it was burning. I mean,
Burning.
Vietnam. Show. All right. Anyway, yeah. So I think it's fairly clear that Bion is a clone of True's mother, who is now being raised.
Yes.
And she was so attached to her mom that she's found a way to bring her back.
Yes.
And she can get the memories and
Yes.
all that. So, but that also does beg the question: if she's a clone and she's a girl.
Yes.
You would think that if Will had a clone, it would be like a little kid that has to grow up again. Like, do they have clones? Can you make a clone that's like the same age?
Well, I mean, if it's the same process, that's what's happening on that moon of Mars.
Oh, good point. They just make adults. Yeah, good point. Good point. You're absolutely right. If Ozymandias has it, then Lady True's got it. We now go back into the past to 1930s, I believe.
Yes. I think they go right to him getting his badge, I think, right?
Okay. So it's the graduation ceremony. Graduation ceremony happens. He is the one black officer in the unit, and the white captain, let's say, won't pin the badge on. They have the one black officer whose job it is to do that, so segregation is still a big thing. And as he pins the badge on to Will, he whispers to him, like, beware of the Cyclops.
Yes.
Which is, he could have been a little clearer. I'll just
Yes,
put it that way.
he could have.
Maybe
Yeah.
it's, we'll assume that there was some other point that we didn't see where he actually met with him and was like, here's the deal. There's a whole bunch of Klan members that are in the cops. There's Jerry, there's Billy,
Well,
there's Amanda.
he seems rudely surprised by the whole thing, though.
So, all right, anyway, we know there's this organization, Cyclops. As soon as they mentioned that, I thought, oh, there's that single eye we keep seeing.
Yes.
And I thought, sure enough, that's, yes, it is connected to
now, where did you
7th
see
Cavalry. Well, the eye is in, I remembered it from two places. One was last week on the church.
Yes.
The wall of the church.
Well, so-called church.
Church, yeah. The
warehouse.
Factory, whatever it was, yeah. And the other was in a Peteypedia thing. There was there's a letter from like Senator Keene to Judge Grandfather, and it had the one eye at the bottom.
Right.
So, in any case, this has been around for a while, and it's a white power organization. We then go from graduation to Will sees this guy who later we learn is Fred, who is also the villain from True Detective Season 1. Hence, he's going to be a villain. I'd love to see that guy play a good guy. Or maybe he has, and I just haven't seen it. But he'd be like, "Oh, here's some ice cream." Be like, "Oh no, it's gonna blow up!" Anyway, he like casually throws a Molotov cocktail into a Jewish deli, and Will is like shocked, goes and arrests this guy, and he's very casual about it, like, "Oh, whatever, okay, guy." And it's interesting how the cops at first are like really like, "Oh, he's one of us. All right, this cop is a good guy," and they're like very like, "Yay, cops!" Yeah. But as soon as Will's away, they're like, "All right, you can go." Basically, like, so Will sees him on the street, and they're like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, and it's interesting though that he even bothered to not make it clear to Will at first, right?
Because they do eventually, obviously.
Yeah, like, hey, you can't call our officer that name, so don't do that. Okay, fine, and they go to,
Yeah, but as soon as Will questions it, a second or the first time, really, just question like, hey, why did that guy get out? All right, let's go hang him. And so
well, I feel like it was, all of a piece, though, right? Because he was messing with, or maybe he was investigating that guy.
Yeah.
So that's what they
He was
didn't
pushing,
like.
and they're like, stop,
Yeah,
and then
okay.
they hang him, and they cut him down at the last second.
Right.
And they're like, all right, next time we're not going to cut you down.
Yeah, don't mess with white man's business.
And that is where he gets the hangman's noose, and they put a hood over his head. So this is the Hooded Justice costume.
Yes, and from there he walks into the city, and then he hears, and then sees,
An assault happening. In an
right?
alley.
Which is, what was described, I believe, in the about the first act of Hooded Justice.
All right. Right, it's trying to mirror the actual... Oh, I should say this. We do see something that did happen at the beginning of this episode, was the TV version
Yes.
of Hooded Justice being interrogated by the cops.
Yes.
And, of course, it's wrong in that they have him as a white guy. Right. There's a hint that Captain Metropolis... It's not a hint, they say it. But
Yes.
in the show, there's apparently Captain Metropolis was having an affair with J. Edgar Hoover and had proof, and they wanted Hooded Justice to go steal that proof, or they were going to out Hooded
Right.
Justice.
Well, this might be, yes. I mean, obviously, an example of where the writers of the TV show within the TV show theorized about the reason why Hooded Justice disappeared, because they imagined that because they were like trying to figure out people's identities, that he decided that he didn't want to do it anymore.
Right.
But also, too, they're integrating the knowledge about the affair between Hooded Justice and
Captain Metropolis.
Yeah, so Captain Metropolis, such an interesting name. That was the one of the things that it was Peteypedia talked about, the inaccuracies of the show.
Yes, Agent Petey is very upset at how the show takes liberties with the actual historical events. And we do see, yes, it is not correct. In fact, I'll just jump to this. Later, we see a bit where we see the real version of the scene where Hooded Justice goes and saves people in a grocery store. In fact, the TV version was he jumps through the glass and then he beats up the guys and saves them.
Right.
And as we assume this is the real situation, he was beating up Klansmen in the back, kind of fell into the store. Store owner, I believe, is Fred, who then pulls out a gun and starts shooting at him, and he leaps out to save himself from being shot.
Yes.
So, interesting, yes. It's kind of a cool, I like the history versus
and that
TV
would certainly be something that Fred might tell the cops if they came.
Right. He jumped in.
Yeah, he jumped in and stopped
these guys.
Although, actually, I guess he could have said that this guy tried to do something and then I shot and then he escaped.
Yeah. Fred seems to have a very, he seems like a higher up in this Cyclops organization.
Right, he does.
So we've got Will. He then, in his attempt to stop this assault happening, he decides to put on the mask that he's holding. He's been holding this hood the whole time. He's still got the noose around his neck. Why do you think he puts the hood on in that moment? He got the eye holes. Why does he conceal his identity?
Yeah, I don't
know. So he does.
I mean, he might be frustrated by what little he can do as a cop.
He also might be. I mean, there obviously, race is a big issue here. Maybe he's worried that if he goes in and it's a black guy, that they'll say he was a bad actor.
At the time, he certainly doesn't have his uniform on either.
Right.
So
maybe it's just easier to be like, look, it's a random stranger who everyone will assume is white.
Yeah.
And they did.
Yeah.
And then he uses whiteface, which is a great duality, I think, with Angela, his granddaughter, using the black. So I like that duality there. Right. So he starts this Hooded Justice thing, and he is in some way the inspiration for the Minutemen, as we find out.
Yes.
As they want to recruit him. And we have a scene where Captain Metropolis shows up at Will's place. Will's, by the way, is married to June.
Yes.
June is the little baby girl that he rescued from the riots.
That's kind of weird.
It is weird, isn't it? Anyway, they're married, and they have a kid. They have a son. We assume that is Angela's dad. So Captain Metropolis shows up, and it was an interesting scene. First of all, there's the hey, I think you're gay and we should have an affair context going on.
Right.
But there's also the he says, "Oh, you're the only cop that could be giving info to Hooded Justice. That's why I'm here." But I kind of felt like he really did know that was Hooded Justice. But I don't know. What did you think?
I feel like he kind of said that as he was there, he figured it out.
Okay.
So maybe initially he thought, people believe
the Hooded Justice is white, so it wouldn't.
Right, but it's only when he's there, I think, talking that he sort of figures it out.
Okay.
I think that's my
that sounds right. So we have Hooded Justice.
Not only did he have what is the true race of a superhero Dar, but he also had gaydar. So he was able to.
He has good GPS abilities.
Yes, he does.
Multifaceted. So Will is now he's hiding his race. He's also hiding his sexual identity.
Yeah.
And so he's living a lot of secrets.
Yeah. And in terms of the episode, and in terms of understanding, explaining it to Angela, I guess that's a suitable story-wise reason to have it be so condensed in terms of what information is communicated. I'm not, in terms of my own feelings about the episode, I might have enjoyed it having more of efforts at trying to make it.
You feel like they rushed over the relationship there?
Yeah, there was a lot to explain, I guess, in that. So, I feel like it wasn't. It was just very compressed.
Yeah, they pushed forward big time.
Yeah, and too, you could even say maybe that the whole element of taking a memory and how you remember it, and then how it would be interpreted through a pill to somebody, might be affected anyway. So yeah, maybe that could be a reason why it was, sort of compressed like that. But still, I think I would have, in a way, some of that, it's like there's even more nuance that could be communicated that, But, what are you going to do? It's a show.
I hear you.
There's only so much time.
And they're moving.
And and it all supposed to conclude by the end of the season.
Yes.
So there's 3 more episodes left.
I got to wrap this up. They have a whole lot of balls in the air right now. Tick. Eventually, we find out that the Minutemen, who are inspired by Hooded Justice, are glad to have him on the crew, are actually not really interested in stopping this Cyclops problem.
No, definitely not.
They're like, what? What are you talking about? And, Hooded Justice finds this thing about mesmerism, and he finds a map where it looks like the Cyclops has places across the states that they're going to do some terrible thing with mind control, and Captain Metropolis is very dismissive. You sound crazy.
Yeah. Oh, and he dismisses the whole thing in terms of hey, it's not our job to stop these people having their problems or whatever.
He even cuts him off at one point when they were having the interview with, I don't know, it's the local paper or something, and he just says, well, we're going to be, we're doing another thing.
Yeah.
Don't listen to him.
Yeah.
He's here for pictures. So Hooded Justice takes it upon himself at some point. He ends up running into Fred again. Yes. Oh, actually, it's at that phone call when he gets dismissed. He realizes the Minutemen are not going to help him the way he hoped. And he's upset, and Fred decides to pick that moment to be extra dickish.
Yes.
And so pays for it with his life.
Yes.
And so Hooded Justice goes on a bit of a rampage, kills a lot of Cyclops folks, and burns their base. But not before taking one of the mesmerizing devices. We did see the mesmerizing device work.
Yeah. I was about to say that was perhaps more of an inciting incident than the fact, what, you're not going to help me get him? Then I'll just kill him.
All right, yes.
It's like, no, he discovers that they're doing something really terrible, and in desperation, he asks for their help.
Right.
And
when he gets turned away.
Yeah, they get turned away. So the actual
so
horror.
They've been using this mesmerizing device in a movie theater. And so basically
and the thing
inciting
that
the people
I
to
hadn't
riot
even
and
thought
attack
about
each other.
was the parallels between having a race riot occur and the connection to a movie, that he had when he was a child.
Yeah. Because one of the little themes we see in this dream flashback is his mom playing the piano.
Right.
And his mom was playing the piano in coordination with that the Bass Reeves movie he was watching, which he was trying to drown out the riot.
Yes.
That whole time, so it's very relevant back to that.
Right. Oh, so actually, this is really a masterful episode.
Masterful. It actually is very good.
It is very good. Yes, it is very good.
It had a lot to do.
But yeah, I think they
in a short period of time.
Did a lot to sort of establish what Will's motivation was and his frustration.
So the threat is real. It is not just in his head.
Yes.
It's like, oh, they actually have a device that can control people's minds and make them fight each other, do whatever you want.
Right.
So he burns the place down. We do see that call back again to the riots where he was standing over looking at a burning field.
Yes.
And he's standing here watching a burning factory. Now, no one else is there, and the place is burning. It was a little license there, but so be it. In terms of, I can feel like there'd be a fire department, there'd be people running up, and like, oh my God, save the people!
I thought you meant no one was in the factory. Yeah. He did kill them all.
Yeah, he killed them all.
Yes.
Yeah, they were quite dead. So he does that, and then we kind of at that point, I think, cut to Old Man Will.
Yeah. So
we don't know necessarily that seems to be the last memory he thinks is worthy.
Yeah.
And now I'll show you why. Like it was all leading up.
Well,
to
it wasn't.
Why
it wasn't quite
Judd.
Cut to Will because we did see that Will's family leaves him.
Great point. Because his son, at one point, his son is trying to put on the makeup. He's like, no, what are you doing? Don't do that. And basically, June says like. I forgot her point necessarily.
Her point seemed to be saying like you can't stand to see him like you because you've become such a terrible thing.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Right, because she was kind of all on board with
like she was saying that you have to do this because so people would think that a white person would do this and not you.
Perhaps part of
and
her
also
reasoning is,
like you're so angry over what happened or whatever.
I mean,
as a side note, I feel like maybe I would feel better about their relationship if if Will as a child went to some other place and she was a daughter there, if there was a parental force established as opposed to someone who's growing up with this young boy.
I got you. Their beginning of the relationship is odd for sure, but also you may be part of her unspoken resentment is the fact that she knows that he's gay, maybe as well, or that he's having an affair.
They don't. Yeah, it doesn't feel like it comes out explicitly.
Because there's that one moment in particular when Captain Metropolis, they touch hands. He's like, "I make an offer, you come over," and then he leaves, and her first thing is no. Now she's saying, on the superficial level, it's no, don't join these Minutemen. But I thought there was also a sense of,
right.
We mean something. Don't just abandon our relationship.
They revisit that once after he does is with him. Then he's in bed with her, and she wants to feel that he's committed because she's pregnant.
Yeah.
So you could say that perhaps she suspects then that something has occurred.
Agreed. But for whatever reason, she takes the kid back to Tulsa.
Yes.
Which is interesting because we know that eventually. I think Angela is born in Vietnam. So one theory could be that young Angela's dad joins up with the army and goes to Vietnam, and because they're right around that would place him right around the right age to be going to Vietnam, and so perhaps he's there for the war, which was also we know an event that shaped Lady True.
Right.
So there's a lot of things going on there with the Vietnam War itself. But yes, she leaves with the kid, and
so then we
cut it. So in a way, perhaps you could say that if Will was selecting memories to give to Angela, that he was trying to show the rationale for why he hanged Judd.
Okay.
And so at the end, we see that he keeps the mesmer tech.
Yeah,
essentially.
The tech, has
and his
made
little flash like
into
tick, 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 tick. There was a little warning actually before the episode. There's some strobing effects. Watch out if don't try to hang yourself.
Oh, or kill you.
Don't start up your own podcast. So yeah, it's a very fascinating scene. Actually, it's short, but Don Johnson, I think, does a great job there too, where we see this. Will identifies. I know you've got a thing in your closet. Right. So it was when he said skeletons in the closet.
Yes,
he actually did mean.
Yeah, he did mean that.
The actual closet.
Yeah.
And so you've got a clan robes in your closet, and I wonder in that moment if Judd had said the perfect thing, if he could have avoided being killed, but instead he says "It's my legacy." And you're like, oh, that's exactly why he's doing this. like if he'd have said it was my grandfather's and I keep it in remembrance of him, but I get it. It's a terrible curse, and I keep it because I don't want to go like that for myself or something like that. Right. I feel like if he'd said the right thing in that moment, maybe he avoids getting hanged, but he doesn't.
Well, I mean, that may be true. It feels like, though, that his death is probably part of the plan.
Okay. I just thought perhaps it was just Will is like, I go out seeking vengeance on clan folks, and that's maybe what he's been doing with his little flashlight, through time, but maybe not. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's specifically about some deeper conspiracy.
I feel like that because, I mean, otherwise it's an interesting choice. Maybe Lady True didn't have any idea about that technology when she took him away.
That's what I think it is. I think the mesmer tech is what she's really interested in. Will has it. She doesn't know how to do it, and so she needs Will to enact it.
All right, so you think that it wasn't until then that they were involved and made a plan?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I get your point.
You don't think that it would have been part of her plan all along?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, now that you mention it, it seems like it would have been more a long-term thing.
I think so.
Okay. All right. Good point.
I mean, I think it's perhaps what they're doing is setting up the sort of rationale to have an event probably happen. So this inciting incident of killing Judd, and then perhaps what it is a massive, they'll take out the 7th Cavalry. They'll take all the, so that's what the objective were there. So in killing Judd, it's like, okay, now there's the justification for the killing of the 7th Cavalry, which will happen once they mesmerize everybody. That's my theory.
So what do you, now that we know what happened.
I just came out with that, actually.
I like it. Now that we know what happened, we assume that's the true version of events.
Right.
What do you make of when Will, this is before it all happened, the day it happened, when he's sitting outside the bakery and Sister Night walks by and he's like, hey, you think I can lift 200 pounds?
Right.
What was that all about then? It's almost like
well, if he knew
what he was going to do.
He knew it.
And he knew he was going to call her out there.
Yes.
And I guess he was just assuming she wouldn't believe him that he had killed her, or that he had killed Judd.
Right.
But it's just weird that he would plant that little thing in the beginning. I don't know. I don't understand. I guess that was all part of the plan, was to lure her in.
Right. I mean, well, perhaps letting her know that there's more involved, and certainly he was saying that he confessed that he killed him, and I was one of the ones that's like, did you? I mean, come on.
Well, he had a flashlight.
Yeah, right, exactly. So
I will say this: while I'm in a world where we've got a guy living on one of the moons of Jupiter with clones and stuff, a mesmerizing device is not that unusual, but it has a potential to be misused in a narrative context in which you kind of remove agency from people. For instance, let's say last week, one of the cool things with last week was the 7th Cavalry comes to Looking Glass.
Yes.
And they're like, look, you make a choice.
Yes.
We're either going to come to Angela's house and kill her family,
right, or
you can help us and turn her in.
Right.
And he makes a choice.
Yes.
A choice most people probably would make, but it's still, he has to make a choice. What do I do now?
Yes.
And that was an interesting thing to do.
Yes.
If they had just gone, go turn in Angela.
Right. Right, they don't have the tech though.
Right, but I'm just saying, if that's the way the tech ends up working in the show,
killing them.
If
they had it originally, and now they have these little eye, pictures.
They have the picture
that's all they
of
have.
what used to be.
That's all. Yes.
Damn it. Anyway, so I'm just saying, I hope that it doesn't get overused. That there's just like everybody ends up with the mesmer tech.
I feel like they're
do what I want.
Right. Well, I feel like they're establishing it as a, as an event that's coming up. That's a threat.
Yeah.
And
we'll talk about that in just a second.
Because one thing we don't have is like everybody's making calamari all the time. So the squid thing. It's going to end up being something that everybody uses.
Yeah. Right. Good point.
And presumably, Lady True would want to keep, have that ability for herself. And not have, and now, get your little flashlight No, I want you to do what I want.
Give me all your money. Oh, damn it. Okay, let me get it back. Give me back my money.
Oh.
Angela does wake up eventually. She is, during the middle of the dream, they give her adrenaline. She starts to wake up. Cal's there and is like, hey, you're here's who you are, and remember, and she kind of fades out again. And she wakes back up. She's gotten some kind of transfusion. She's with Lady True.
Yes.
Looks like she's in the Millennium Tower clock thing. Yeah. So that's next episode as well. We see she's now going to be in proximity to Will, so I assume she'll meet up with Will.
Yeah, I think in the previews there we see that.
We see her open a door, and then she's shocked. Anyway, so I'm wondering if maybe she sees a bunch of clones of Will, maybe.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Something like that.
Yeah, it could be. That would be shocking.
We did not see Ozymandias this episode. We see that next episode he's having a trial.
Yes.
The game warden is putting him on trial. Which still you're like, how is he gonna fit? How is he fitting into this?
Yeah.
Steer that ship in its 3 episodes.
Yeah.
But something very interesting from Peteypedia, which I think plays heavily into True's plan, is that she has given out free HD TVs to all of Tulsa. It's not that. Take a big leap to think, oh, Will has a mesmerizing device. You just handed out TVs to everyone in the area. You're going to do something
to make it up
the
for the land that she took. So it's like, oh, sorry, I took that land that you didn't like. Here, have a free TV.
and then on top of whatever the plan is, she also then says, and you will pay for the TV. So what do we think that is? You mentioned a thing you thought, but what do you? So the images they show on the TV, I'm thinking they recreate perhaps the race riots, but in reverse, or
that makes sense to me.
She obviously could have a grudge to bear against the United States in general.
Yes,
but for what they did to Vietnam and her family, and Will obviously has those riots were hugely important to him. Yeah. So for him to do. It might seem as justice to him because he wants justice is important to him.
That's true.
So perhaps that's the turnabout that's about to happen.
That could be.
Something else interesting from the Peteypedia was there was a will and testament written out by Captain Metropolis. And he basically gives all of his money to Will in his will.
And apparently confesses.
Yeah. He apologizes for everything.
Yeah.
It's very much a mea culpa, and boy, I was wrong about everything, and Will's great, and here's all the money to Will. All right, it made me think.
Oh, yes, I'm so sorry.
So I think we may find out that Will, the way Will ended up with getting cash and staying on the lam, was he booped the rich guy who screwed him over and took all his cash. Maybe he killed him? Oh, that would be really dark.
Interesting. But, or maybe he had him kill himself, just so,
Kill yourself. And
or take some poison. Or,
look, he wrote it right here. That's his. There you go. So I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, I think we could see that that Hooded Justice has done some pretty bad things maybe over time. I mean, the killing of Judd, while justifiable, again, I think actually, I don't think Judd is just an unabashed Klansman guy. I think he is trying in his own way to keep the peace.
Yes, I think you're right.
And so when he says something like, you don't understand half of what's going on or something like that.
Right.
And I think he's, again.
That could be.
Say those words a little quicker.
Although, one hopefully what'll be illuminated is his part in the White Knight or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So
but there's still a few mysteries
questions,
for sure.
Yeah.
How she survived, all that kind of stuff. Right. So there's still a lot of mysteries left to be seen here in the last 3 episodes.
One other thing I wanted to sort of put a spotlight on was when Will, as a freshly made officer, goes up to what is it, a newsstand or whatever.
The Action Comics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is the first appearance of Superman. So he starts asking about superheroes or whatever before that he becomes the superhero
Right. Before it becomes Hooded Justice.
Right.
And he has such
as
a
you were
similar
saying
backstory.
too, yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He gets jettisoned off by his parents before the world blows up. Essentially.
Right. Yeah.
So he definitely has a backstory that's similar. So I guess that also means that Superman is a myth even in the Watchmen's world. It's not like they're living in a universe where
Yes. Correct.
Superman's a real
Correct. Yeah. Although this makes it even more interesting that the name of the family that.
Oh, the Clarks.
Yes. Yeah.
Obviously, they'd be the Kents if they were the
Right. Well.
Yeah. No, there's definitely a lot of the meteor lands in their field and all that stuff.
When they get a baby.
Exactly. So there are obviously definite allusions to the Superman origin story all throughout this season, but it's just I think in relation to, and these are our actual heroes, and they have similar origin stories.
Right.
Anyway, it's exciting. It's cool stuff, and I look forward to seeing how Damon Lindelof wraps this up.
Yes.
We'll be back talking about Mr. Robot next up, and happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We'll be back.